Have you ever wondered if there's a place where you could commit a crime and legally get away with it? No. This isn't a movie plot or a conspiracy theory. There is a real place in the United States where, thanks to a bizarre legal loophole, you could theoretically commit murder and walk free. This place is hidden deep in Yellowstone National Park, in a small, eerie patch of land known as the Zone of Death, a 50-square-mile legal anomaly where the law, quite literally, doesn't work. Now, before you go packing your bags and planning your criminal empire, let's break down what this loophole actually is, how it happened, and why, after nearly 2 decades, no one has fixed it. Let's start with a simple question. What happens when you commit a crime? You get arrested, you go to trial, and if found guilty, you get sentenced. Simple, right? Well, not in the zone of death. To understand why, we need to take a closer look at how criminal trials work in the United States. Under the 6th Amendment of the United States Constitution, if you are charged with a serious crime, you have the right to be tried by a jury of your peers. That means your jury must be made up of people who live in both the state and federal district where the crime was committed. This is known as the vicinage clause. Now, here's where things get weird. Yellowstone National Park is mostly in Wyoming, but a tiny slice of it, about 50 square miles, extends into Idaho. This area is completely uninhabited. No houses, no businesses, no permanent residents, just wilderness. And here's the loophole. If you commit a crime in this patch of land, the law says your jury must come from both the state of Idaho and the federal district of Wyoming, since Yellowstone is under federal jurisdiction. But here's the problem. No one actually lives in that 50-square-mile area. There's literally no one to serve on your jury, and if there's no jury, you can't be legally tried. This loophole was discovered by Brian Colt, a law professor at Michigan State University, who was casually researching oddities in the legal system. When he stumbled upon this oversight, he was shocked. He even wrote a paper about it titled "The Perfect Crime," a document that quite literally lays out how someone could legally get away with murder. But here's where things get even stranger. After discovering this, Colt immediately contacted Congress, lawmakers, and even the Department of Justice, warning them that they needed to close this loophole before someone exploited it. And do you know what happened? Nothing. No one did anything. No law passed. No correction was made. And to this day, the loophole still exists. So why hasn't anyone fixed it? Well, for one, legal experts have argued that even though the loophole exists on paper, courts would never actually let a criminal walk free just because of a technicality. The idea is that if someone did try to get away with the murder using this defense, a judge would likely override it by ruling that they must stand trial in Idaho's closest populated area. But here's the catch. That's not what the law says. The law very clearly requires a jury from the district and state where the crime was committed. If a clever lawyer argued this in court, a judge might be forced to admit the law is the law. And if no law has been broken procedurally, a conviction might be impossible. Now, has anyone actually tried to use this loophole? In 2005, a man named Michael Belderrain illegally shot an elk in this very area. When he was caught, he decided to put the loophole to the test. He demanded that his trial have a jury composed of people from the zone of death. Of course, there were none. And that's when things got interesting. Rather than let the case spiral into a legal nightmare, the court simply ignored the issue. Instead, they tried him in a different district. Belderrain didn't push the matter further, so the loophole was never truly tested. But if someone ever does, and the court is forced to follow the Constitution to the letter, well, it's possible that the zone of death could become the perfect crime scene. The crazy part, fixing this loophole is incredibly simple. Congress would just need to pass a law reassigning the zone of death to a different federal district, most likely Idaho. That's it, but for almost 2 decades, nothing has been done. Lawmakers either don't care, don't see it as a real issue, or just assume no one will ever use it. But as we all know, when a loophole exists, someone, someday, will try to use it. Until then, Yellowstone's zone of death remains one of the strangest legal gray areas in the world. So what do you think? Should this loophole be closed before someone actually takes advantage of it? Or is this just another example of legal theory that would never hold up in court? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into legal loopholes, don't forget to like and subscribe. There are plenty more weird legal mysteries to uncover. I'm Darryl Isaacs, the Kentucky Hammer. I'll see you next time.